Nation.
Hey, playoff time calls for Carboni's Pizza, game day fuel since 1954. Fuel your Game 6 playoff party Thursday night by ordering at carbonispizza.com.
Couple 13-14 after the hour number one in the books. Brian Oak will join us at award-winning Brian Oak. Is it Silver Award podcast, or do you get the gold? I think you got the silver. I think he got jobbed. I'll ask him about it again. He does a podcast, Rock Talk at 1:15. But right now it's time for 5, 3, 4.
Time now for 5 questions. Well, actually 3, but 5 sounds like more than 4. Brought to you by Willow River Company. Question number 1.
We're gonna win, Twins, we're gonna score.
It's now time to delve deep into Twins territory.
Crack out a home run, shout a hit, hooray! Cheer for the Minnesota Twins today.
The Twins have now lost 10 of their past 12 games after a 7-1 loss to the Mariners last night at Target Field. Twins have scored fewer than 3 runs in 5 of their last 7. The lack of offense spoiled a strong outing from Joe Ryan, who gave up just 2 runs on 6 hits in 6+ innings. Byron Buxton's team-leading 7th homer of the season was the only offense the Twins could muster, as they were hitless in 9 at-bats with a runner in scoring position. Common, what sticks out to you from last night's Twins loss?
Maybe that turnkey DRG can find a hitting coach for us. As long as he's in town trying to find a general manager candidates for the Vikings, maybe they could look for help there. Again, it's. I got mildly encouraged. And that's why it's. What do they call a baseball season? It's a what. It's not a what.
It's a marathon, not a sprint.
Yeah, and so that's why it's difficult to get too excited. But when they had that nice little run, they started out 3-6, and they swept the Tigers, and then I think the next 2 or 3 series they took 2 out of 3, and they were on a roll, and they were the best record. I wasn't a record to brag about. American League was kind of downzo. It was 10-7, but they were 10-7. They had the best league or record in the American League, and since then, have they won a game? How many? They have 12 or 13 wins now. Where are they at since they were 10-7?
We're at 13-17.
So that means we're
only a half game ahead of the worst team in the AL Central now, which is your Kansas City Royals.
So since that 10-7 best record in the American League, we're 3-10, and it's been a combination. It really is. And I don't have every game result in front of me with the box score. Rosen would, of course, but it really hasn't been the starting pitching. It's been the lack of clutch hitting. In particular, we had that one stat where. I don't know what the number of at-bats were, how many games. We were like 171 batting average with runners in scoring position for like the last 35 runners in scoring position. That's just bad, And then the bullpen, it's like pouring gasoline on the. It's just bad. So it's the bullpen. It's the everyday lineup, and and without Lopez, another quality arm, big time arm. They're just in trouble. It's unfortunate, but that's what you got. Anything stand out for you other than that?
It seems kind of same old now.
Yeah.
Question number 2.
The NCAA has initiated the final steps to expand the men's and women's basketball tournaments to 76 teams. The expansion, which has been discussed for well over a year, is on track to be formalized in the upcoming weeks and would begin this coming season. Though there are still steps to take in terms of approvals via various NCAA committees, a source to ESPN indicated, quote, "Those are just formalities." Common, your thoughts on adding 8 more teams to the madness?
Do we need it? I don't really feel we do. I think you may have said it. If you didn't, somebody else did, and I echo it. Why fix something that ain't broke? It's been great. I mean, even when they went to the play-in games, that was, to me, it was like, why are you doing that? Why do you have to?
I agree.
And so the play-in games are there, so we're used to it now. Okay. But why add more? Because again, the teams you added, they're sacrificial lambs. They're going to get drilled. I know, Cinderella story. One of those new teams, that added, was it to 76? 8 new teams are adding. So of those 8 teams, they'll go 0-8. And maybe one will win one, but then they're going to get drilled the next one. And I know we love the individual, if you're settled in on your couch and you're watching a game and you watch a 15 seed beat a 2, it's fun. But then that's basically, it's over at that point.
I mean, they're probably going to be like 10, 11 seeds that are the ones being.
Yeah.
Well, I don't even know if you can still call them that. You'd have to
that's it.
Increase the number of the seeds. But, because when they did the 4 seeding games, they were also just having, like a 12 versus a 12 to get in, right?
Yeah.
So there's still a chance that some of those teams might win a round or two, or maybe one makes it to the elite every once, but none of them are going to win it.
Someone wants an update on my prostate. It's the only thing bigger than my ego. And then someone else wants an update. Has Blandon ever been able to sell his used golf shoes? Because you had those on.
Oh, I threw them in the garbage.
Okay.
Yeah, they're gone.
Just wanted to make sure. People are interested in our private lives, the things we do off air. And what's wrong with that? I don't think anything.
But I'm going to give another. I've said this before. I'll give another warning to the NCAA. The reason March Madness is as popular is because people can fill out their brackets.
Yes.
Right? And there are so many people that never pay attention to college basketball, and then March comes around. Oh, I got to fill out a bracket. Margin accounting is going to win your pool. The more you screw up the bracket, the more you put that at risk. That's all I'm going to say. Doesn't seem worth it to me.
What's all this sports talk? I tuned in to listen to gibberish. That's what most people are here for. But this is 534, so we talk sports. What's next?
Question number 3. And now it's time to go in the paint.
Do you have your lunch? Because this is like one of the longest Barrero questions I will ever ask.
I forgot to heat it up during the last break. I'm going to do it during Rock Talk.
You could have eaten half of your lunch during this question.
I have leftover chicken and leftover roast beef, 3.5 ounces of chicken, 2.5 ounces of beef. I have just a very small portion of potatoes and carrots that were cooked with the roast beef. And then I've got an avocado and some raspberries. I'll have that during Rock Talk.
Well, the NBA has disclosed to its 30 general managers a new anti-tanking draft reform termed the 3-2-1 lottery that includes expanding the lottery to 16 teams, flatten odds, and a relegation zone where the bottom 3 teams would be penalized with fewer lottery balls for the number 1 pick. This starting with the 2027 draft. The league office has held multiple critical meetings with its board of governors, competition committee, and 30 GMs over the past few weeks to narrow toward this new singular proposal ahead of the owners having a final vote on May 28th. There could be minor modifications to the proposal, but the key points of the framework have a majority of the support from teams. The 3-2-1 lottery proposal, named to represent the number of lottery balls per team, would expand the lottery from 14 to 16 teams. Teams that do not qualify for the playoffs or play in tournament but stay out of the relegation zone, that would be spots 4 through 10, would receive 3 lottery balls each. Teams with a bottom 3 record, the relegation area would have only 2 lottery balls but have a floor of the number 12 pick. And the rest of the 13 lottery teams could fall as far as the number 16 pick. The 9 through 10 play-in seeds in each conference receive 2 lottery balls each, and the losers of the 7-8 play-in games receive 1 lottery ball each. Previously, the league drew odds for only teams with the bottom 4 records in the league, while the other 10 lottery teams were ordered by inverse record. So under the proposal, all 16 teams would be in the drawing. In addition, no team would be able to win the top pick in consecutive years or be able to win 3 consecutive top 5 picks. Teams would also not be able to protect picks in the 12 to 15 slots going forward. I know it sounds confusing, but Common, do you like this anti-tanking idea?
Could you repeat that, please? Did Tina ever find out about the bump noise in your house? I forgot about
the what noise?
You had some kind of a noise in your house, I thought.
Well, that was a long time ago.
Well, they're wondering if you ever found out what it was. They want to know.
That was like my previous house.
And did you ever find out what it was?
I think I did, but I don't remember what it was.
Okay. Anything they can do to prevent tanking, I guess we're all for. Though, as you know, we mentioned before when former Dallas Mavericks owner Mark Cuban said tanking's a good thing because fans would much rather, if you're a terrible team in a terrible city with terrible fans, they'd much rather you get the first pick overall, because let's face it, generally speaking in the draft, there's 2-3 guys that at the most that are really franchise. Now, again, there are guys that fall with, I guess the most well-known one would be Joker, who went, 40th pick or 60th, whatever it was. But most of the best players, franchise-altering players that you can build around, are going to be in those first couple of picks. So, yeah, your fan base would rather you tank and get Cooper Flagg, who just won Rookie of the Year, right? But it just kind of it kind of waters down the product when you have teams not trying, and then you're like, well, why am I paying top dollar to watch this game when my team's not trying, or the team we're playing isn't trying because they're trying to tank it? If it works, great. It's hard to understand. I couldn't repeat anything other than the 3-2-1 is all it's like 5-3-4, 3-2-1. That's all I really understand about it. But if it works, great, because it is.
I kind of like that the 3 worst teams are going to get punished.
Yes, that probably makes sense.
So they're going to still hopefully have a reason to keep trying and playing. Not punished to the point where it's so severe that they wouldn't be able to overcome it, but you get less lottery balls if you're one of the 3 worst teams. I like that.
Our tend to be his hips and back holding up. It has to be painful always having his wallet, keys, and cell phone in his front pocket. See, people are worried and wondering about the things in our life. Here's another one. Are you still taking guitar lessons? No. I couldn't get my fingers wrapped around the frets. It was too, I don't know how people play guitar, man. Well, I know how they do it with their hands, but I mean.
I've done a couple YouTube piano lessons.
Have you really?
Yeah.
Sing us a song, you're the piano man.
The song I'm trying to learn to play right now is Let It Be.
Really?
Yeah.
Could you play Piano Man? They sit around the bar and put bread in my jar and say, man, what are you doing here?
I think it's a little too advanced for me.
Yeah, probably so. Let's
And that's it for today's edition of 5 questions. Well, actually 3 questions, but 5 sounds like more than 4.
You can still boondelay and save with their 534 Willow River Experience. You bundle 5 core services, 3 seasonal upgrades, and 4 custom add-ons into one simple plan. Also, they do landscaping work. Like they removed some trees from my house, and they're gonna remove some mulch and put in real sod again. I hate mulch. Sorry, just hate it. Washes away right away. It looks great when you first put it out in your yard. Then after about 2 weeks in the sun and the rain, it's running all over your yard. I hate it. So we're going to get rid of some of that mulch. And they also do, like stuff for your trees, and you got to trim them and keep them healthy. So they'll do all of that thing for you, all of those things for you. WillowRiverCompany.com to find out more. WillowRiverCompany.com to find out more. We'll break when we come back. Brian Oak joins us for Rock Talk, which includes Rock Rank. I'm the guy that brought about the fan.
The Fan and BigDeck.com want to give you a shot to win bonus bucks with our national cash contest. Just enter the keyword coin at KFAN.com now for your shot at winning. Keyword is coin. Enter now at KFAN.com. KFAN welcomes some great shows to Mystic Lake Amphitheater. The legendary Bob Dylan will be there July 6th, Motley Crue on August 21st, and Santana and the Doobie Brothers on August 27th. Get the complete details on all of our upcoming shows on the concert page at KFAN.com, keyword calendar.
Couple 13-14 past. I'm Comedy's Tend to Be. Excited and delighted to be joined in studio by Brian Oak for Rock Talk. And it's interesting. Tend to Be said, Oak texted me and said, might be dicey to get here for their first segment. And so I was thinking, what will I talk about? And I was going to discuss my prostate.
Well,
but this saves the audience from prostate talk.
Oh, I don't know if, or maybe it welcomes me into the Grum and this the tough love covenant, because you know what? People who are actually don't just claim it but live the life of the tough love covenant, they can handle a little prostate talk. Don't you think?
Let me see how often you listen. What's the only thing bigger than my ego?
Your prostate.
Yeah, that's correct. You won an award.
I did. Well,
For your podcast.
The only thing I can say about the award for the podcast is that the people have spoken. All right. It was voted on. All right.
Correct.
140,000 votes came down, and the good readers of Minneapolis St. Paul Magazine determined that the Brian Oak Show podcast was Silver Award worthy out of gold, silver, and bronze. 140,000 people voted. So what that tells me is I get to keep doing the podcast for a while. That's why I was thinking I was going to be late today. I literally just did one and was going to race over here. And given how people drive when the weather gets nice, people complain about that first snow of the season and how people seem to forget how to drive. People in the nice weather, I don't know what they're paying attention to, but it is absolutely not the road.
I wanted to talk about Susie Quattro, because I know you're a big fan of Susie Quattro.
I love Susie Quattro.
I just found a story about it. It was kind of interesting. But then it was either that or talk about the secret history of LSD and psychiatry.
Okay, well, I know a little bit about, because, it used to be a very powerful tool until it sort of got demonized by you and your ilk and your Haight-Ashbury types going around thinking it was just for fun. But from a pharmacological perspective, it's a really, really powerful and, frankly, effective tool. But like everything, people demonize weed. They demonize LA. It's not meant to be a party drug. It's meant to find out what's going inside that brain of yours.
All I know is they just told me, said, go ask Alice when she's 10 feet tall. And so that's the only way I could get 10 feet tall.
And the ones that mother gives you don't do anything at all. Uh-huh.
I know how much you like Susie Quattro, so I just thought I found a story from Guitar World. I have all these different, American songwriter, Guitar World, grunge, whatever. There's all sorts of.
And Guitar World is great because they cover a wide range of stuff, from your Susie Quattro to more modern stuff. They're a good resource for rock music info.
There was a time when Peter Frampton very nearly joined Susie Quattro's band. In September 71, Quattro packed her suitcase and headed to England, chasing the promise of famed record producer Mickey Most to make her a star. It took more or less a year of trial and error for the formula to work out, but eventually the two settled on a song, Rolling Stone, that Quattro had written with Hot Chocolate's Errol Brown. Most reputation meant that he was able to hire some very promising names as session players, including post-Humble Pie, Peter Frampton. Quattro recalls in an interview with Classic Rock, "We were making a song called Rolling Stone for my debut album. Mickey said to me, I've got this guitar player coming in. I've kind of earmarked him for your band. I didn't have a band yet, and Peter was a very sweet, unassuming guy and a good guitar player who'd gone solo after being in Humble Pie. When the session was over, Mickey said, nope, Peter can't be in your band. There's only going to be one star, and that's you. Who knew Peter would be so successful? Mickey had picked up on it. So there you go, because if you have two people put in different directions, and she became a big star, and so did Frampton.
Well, and rarely do two alphas work in the same musical outfit. It certainly has been known to happen, probably most famously with the Beatles, and I suppose your Steely Dan fans out there would make that argument as well. But this is an interesting story, because obviously Frampton would go on to dizzying heights of fame, certainly more famous than Susie Quattro ever got.
Correct.
But my favorite part of the story is Mickey Most, that English producer, right? Because really, when we talk about music from this era, if you don't have context or understanding and just it's not in proper perspective, Mickey Most, at a time when British music in the late 60s into the 70s was at some of its most influential, really throughout the 60s, Mickey Most is at the forefront of one of these genius producers who plucks people, works with them, fashions them, conditions them, puts them in the right place at the right time, hooks them up with the right producers and players. He worked with the Animals, Herman's Hermits, Donovan, Lulu, Hot Chocolate, Arrows, the Jeff Beck Group, and he had his own label, RAK Records. So, this guy was a very, very important spoke in the wheel of the British music industry and the British music scene in the 1960s, bleeding over into the 70s. And Susie, she's also a fascinating story, because she just didn't hit. She's an American. She just didn't hit here in the States. And over in the UK, they're like, no, we're going to make you a star. And Mickey Most did. And then later on, she teamed up with this other great production duo, Chapman Chin, who did all kinds of stuff with The Sweet and with The Knack, and they wrote and produced most of her most successful songs. So, I think she's an amazing singer and performer and just rock star in her own right, but she always worked with some of the very, very best people out there. And ultimately, most Americans' only exposure to her, because she never really had a hit single, was as Leather Tuscadero in Happy Days. She played younger sister. That was sort of like a, hey, we're going to get you a slot on TV. We're making one last try to get you any kind of traction in the States. And it didn't work. But no, she's a fascinating figure. And if anybody out there likes Joan Jett, you'd have to meet the proto Joan Jett. She was Joan Jett before Joan Jett, and that's Susie Quattro.
Now, where did that story go? Now I'm mad.
Well, I've got a short Angel of Death story if you want.
Yes, please.
Absolutely. I just got to track it down here. I had too many stories, actually. Also want to talk about that Michael Jackson movie if we get a chance. Oh, but I just wanted to say in passing, as my role as the Grum Reaper, the Angel of Death, we do like to pay tribute and finally eulogize a person one last time before they head off into the ether. And today, I'm not a household name, but absolutely a voice that every single person hearing my voice has heard before. The final surviving Ronette, Nedra Talley Ross.
I saw that.
Has sloughed off this mortal coil at the age of 80. Her cousins, Ronnie and Estelle, they were the other 2/3 of the band. Of course, Ronnie would go on to be better known as Ronnie Spector, but it was a chance encounter that these three young cousins went to do an audition, and it happened to be that, why can't I think of it? Phil Spector was there, and the rest, as they say, is history. Ronnie being very central to that story, and the Ronettes really sort of being, I don't know, just one of his many sort of, again, talk about these uber producers that change everything and are huge figures in music. Spector, although, of course, obviously a convicted murderer and a bad person, he would be one of these guys as well. And so the Ronettes, the final one, is now gone at the age of 80.
Well, we've talked about Spector a couple of times. He put together, George Martin did every Beatles album except for Let It Be.
Right.
And what apparently happened was, the Beatles gave up on the project, then went on and finished up with Abbey Road.
Yep.
And then Lennon was a fan of Spector's, and he just gave him and said, here, take this and do something with it.
Crazy.
He said, okay. Well, they did his famous Wall of Sound, much to the chagrin. I think Lennon liked it because he liked Spector, but all the other, especially McCartney was so angry about what he did with Long and Winding Road, because Long and Winding Road didn't have any strings behind it or any of the opera singers or whatever they were, choral singers.
I mean, I like what he did with it.
Well, I do too, because here's what I'll tell you. The song went to number one. Yeah. I mean, it was obvious, and I've heard the Beatles came out, sub-Beatles, when, Lennon was gone, Harrison was gone, Naked, where they took songs that were stripped of a lot of the production, including... Long and Winding Road without the production is a terrible song.
Well, it's just dull.
It's dull.
Yeah, it doesn't have the life to it, and it makes sense that Lennon would want that because Phil Spector really carved his or cut his teeth rather on that early 60s girl group sound. I mean, he mostly invented it, but that era of rock and roll is where Phil Spector came from. So by the late 60s, he's a very different animal working with different people. But John Lennon, if you look at his solo output after the Beatles broke up, it's drenched in 50s and early 60s rock. It's just so it makes sense that would have been Lennon's go-to, and let's give it a shot. And turned out for a final hurrah, it was pretty solid.
We have Rock Rank coming up.
Yeah, we do.
We'll be doing that during the next segment, and a couple of other items I think we both have we can stumble across.
Absolutely.
It's Rock Rank with Tennessee Common and Brian Oak here on The Fan.
Yeah, and this is Wild Today. It's brought to you by Chanhassen Dinner Theater. Matt Zuccarello returned to the lineup last night in Dallas, and he also returned to the score sheet.
There's a giveaway here, open in front. Kaprizov took a shot on it to save rebound. Zuccarello scores! Kaprizov got it to Zuccarello, who was wide open, and 3:51 in. Welcome back, Zuki. It's 1-0 Minnesota.
Yeah, that was Joe O'Donnell last night on The Fan. Wild got goals from Zucchi, Boldy, McCarron, and an empty netter from Kaprizov as they beat the Stars 4-2 deep in the heart of Texas. So the Wild now lead that series 3-2. Here's the head coach, John Hines.
I just think it's commitment. When you want to be able to play a strong team game, lots of times you think defense is just in the D zone, but I just think it's playing with strong structure, trying to be above people, being organized, playing with discipline, whether it's on your forecheck or the offensive zone, reading and anticipating changes of possession and making sure that you're on top. And, our guys are, they're committed to that. It's how we've basically played all year. But right now, I think there's a high attention to detail.
Game 6 is tomorrow night at Grand Casino Arena. Puck drops at 6:30 p.m. You'll be able to hear that right here on The Fan. That was Wild Today, presented by Chanhassen Dinner Theater. Buy tickets to Guys and Dolls at chanhassendt.com. never miss your chance to know what the latest sports news is in town, chances to win tickets, and knowing what is going on with all your favorite KFAN shows. Follow KFAN 1003 on all of our social channels like Instagram, TikTok, and X now. Stay connected and follow the sports leader, KFAN.
Well, there's only one favorite show, and that's the Power Trip Morning Show. Yoga Pants Breasts. They're going to be up in Brainerd. They're joining the Common Man for the golf opener. They will be there tomorrow night, Thursday. They'll be doing their initials game, and not on air. It'll be just one of those things where those that show up can hang out and watch, and then they'll do their show live Friday. I'll be there doing Tee to Green on Saturday, and then there's a I just talked to Adam Haugen. He was out in Oregon. He'd been at Bandon Dunes. Jesse, one of their head golf professional. He wasn't playing; he was caddying. Their head golf professional, Jesse, was at trying to get into the. It was more the the PGA Championship. They allow 20 PGA golf professionals, guys that work in shops, right? They can give golf pros give them an opportunity to. They have a tournament every year. This year was at Bandon Dunes, and they take the top 20. And they get to play in the PGA Championship. He missed the cut by a shot. But he just told me what the name, Tail Gunners, I think he said was the name of the band that will be up at for the tailgate party. Tail Gunners for tailgate party.
Makes sense.
That's up at Grandview Lodge. So anyway,
man, I've spent a ton of time at Grandview before, and I've never golfed because I've yet to swing a club in my life, but I like it up there. It's nice. Nisswa's a good area.
Here's what I'll tell you. Don't take up golf. It's too frustrating.
Yeah, no, that's why I did, and expensive. No, thank you.
So here's the story I stumbled across.
Right.
Now, if you remember, Rolling Stone, everybody's got a list. I like list radio because it's lazy radio, and I'm lazy. So, the top 500 songs of all time, top 500 albums of all time, top this, top that. I noticed when Rolling Stone did the last time they did it, it changed a lot because they were just doing the old school stuff forever, right? Greatest song of all time, like a Rolling Stone by Bob Dylan. They're saying, if we want to have younger people read our magazine.
We call that cultivating the younger end of the demo.
Yeah. So guess what?
Right.
We got to start adding songs. And when I looked at it, and it's fine, but I'm like, where do these songs come from? They weren't in your last list.
It changed pretty radically. I remember the first time I saw suddenly Nirvana was in top 10 of all time. And that may in fact be the case, but you're right. For 40 years, Rolling Stone was singing the tune of the classic rock era, right? And into the 70s rock and the tumult of the 80s, because they used to actually be a respectable journalistic outlet in terms of, even the non-music stuff that was in there. They were kind of a destination, but they were very much, and pardon me if I offend anyone by saying this, but they were very much aimed right at the heart of boomers, whether they were deep counterculturalists or just wanted to think of themselves as being from a very cool era. That's what they were. But then you're exactly right. They had to bring it up to speed. They had to bring it up to date, at least somewhat, right? And so it does. It changes pretty radically.
The king of gonzo journalism, the late Hunter S. Thompson, he was their he was their national affairs desk guy.
Think about it.
And he would write stuff for him all the time. Matter of fact, I think it wasn't Rolling Stone. He did Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, and that started out as
Fear and Loathing on the Campaign Trail. Everyone should read Hunter S. Thompson.
But the Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, I think, was it was just done piecemeal in a magazine at first before it came into a book. But anyway, so this is VCR, Classic Rock and Culture, and they put their top 100 rock songs of all time the other day.
Wow.
And what stuck out to me is because my favorite Beatles song and song of all time is Strawberry Fields Forever, and they had it the number one rock song of all time.
Is that
in
your
their top 100?
Is that secretly your company, your fanzine, your blog?
But I just think it's so cool. Here's what it says. Revolver had already announced a daring period for the Beatles as they stepped away from live performances to focus on studio recordings and introduced vibrant new Technicolor musical palettes to support their expanding artistic visions. Conceived at the start of Sgt. Pepper's sessions, Strawberry Fields Forever included every trick in their new playbook: speed-altered tapes, backward loops, lyrical vagueness, and a musical sophistication that was eons ahead of their peers. The result was the Beatles' most forward-thinking single and pop music milestone that forever altered the divide between then and now. And I couldn't agree with that more. I just thought it was absolutely a spectacular piece of work. And I'm sure you have. Remember when they came out with back in the late '90s? It was Anthology, where they came out with at 3 different times. I think they were spaced out. 2 CD sets of outtakes, stuff they'd picked up from the cutting room floor.
Yep.
and they do Strawberry Fields Forever. And there's three different versions of it. The first one is from a cassette tape where Lennon is just in his house with the piano trying to figure it out.
Right.
And he's getting frustrated with it, and you hear him go, I can't do it, because he didn't get it how he wanted to say. Then the next version you hear is kind of like, oh, I see it starting to come together now a little bit. And then you hear the final version, and it's fun to listen to that anthology tape. Was so cool because you would hear, would be like take 17 or whatever song,
right?
And sometimes they were so different how they started to how they ended up. But Strawberry Fields is my favorite song, and somebody else finally agreed with me.
Your joy at that fact and finding that and coming across that is infectious. I'm glad that someone else finally sees it the way that you do, Common Man. Because again, I don't dislike that song, but it would be hard for me to put it the number one of all time.
I don't think anybody else would except me and this dude.
Well, it's nice to find your people.
Stairway to Heaven, number 2.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, it's also subjective because there's no question that it belongs in the conversation. Is it the second greatest song of all time in rock history? It's certainly an epic one, and it's memorable, and it's so memorable and so big that people are probably as familiar, young people, with the meme as they are with the actual song. So, I'm not mad at that pick at all.
Well, another song that I would have in there that's not anywhere near the top 100, I brought it up to you last week, Indiana Wants Me. Indiana Wants Me.
You think that's a top fiver,
well,
do you?
It's really not. How about where they have the
with the sirens rolling in the background?
Yeah, and you can hear the police going into the megaphone as the song is fading out. It's like, you're surrounded. This is the police. Give yourself up. Because he wanted to get back to his gal, but he was wanted for some who knows what kind of crime. It might have just been jaywalking. But I don't think they would surround him and tell him to put his hands up. We've got you covered. So
I don't think you mobilized the state patrol for a jaywalker.
But it's just so good. And again, I can never remember. I think his last name had been Dean.
Okay.
Howard Dean? No, Howard
I can't
Dean
remember.
Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, the cheesy songs of the 70s.
Oh, those storytelling songs and stuff like The Night the Lights Went Out in Georgia by Vicki Lawrence. Oh, so good.
And you know what?
What?
That's the one where it says, and the judge said guilty in a make-believe trial, slapped the sheriff on the back with a smile and said, supper's waiting at home and I got to get to it. I just went through it. It's just like, they didn't have any evidence or anything, but they just knew he was guilty and he had to get home.
Exactly.
He's got dinner waiting
Let's
for him.
wrap this up. I got a tea time.
Yeah, so there you go. You said the State Fair grandstand?
Yeah. So, I mean, it's obviously, like everything else, gotten kind of silly expensive, but I just happened to notice the other day that the entire grandstand lineup for the Great Minnesota Get-Together is all set, and it's all in place. And I thought
Let me guess.
Okay.
Happy Together tour will be there. The Turtles and Jerry and the Pacemaker.
You're so close, and they're not calling it the actual Happy Together tour, but it is. They do have one of those nights because you can't have a state fair without a classic 60s sunshine poppy old night. Tommy James and the Shondells with special guest Herman Hermits starring Peter Noon.
Ooh.
So I feel like Peter Noon is assumed since it's Herman's Hermits, but I suppose when bands like the Turtles were touring without a single original member, nothing should be assumed or presumed.
Herman's Hermits has one of the greatest songs of all time.
Henry VIII?
No. How about that one? It's just like, I played it for Deuce.
Yeah.
I mean, and then it goes second verse.
Same as the first. That sing-songy English stuff. Every one of them's got one of those corny songs. But is it Mrs. Brown? You've got a lovely daughter.
No, I used to do a bit about that because Rich Gannon married. How did that bit go? He married somebody named Brown. So I said he at one time had to go up and said, "Mrs. Brown, you have a lovely daughter." No, it's let's see if I can sing it.
Uh-oh.
Something tells me I'm into something good.
Something tells me I'm into something.
You did the key better. That's a brilliant piece of work.
Well, I mean, the perfect, that super amazing sunshine pop didn't always work, but when it does, especially the British stuff, there's nothing else like it. I'm a huge fan.
Well, I just love the line here. Says, I asked her if I could see her next week, and she told me I could.
That's to see her, and she told me I could.
Something tells me I'm into something.
Yeah, baby.
It's a brilliant piece of work. It's well written. He has his own. He had, I don't know. I don't listen to XM Satellite, but he had an XM satellite show.
Oh, did he?
Oh, yes. And he would just play. It was one of those where he would play, he wouldn't play Herman's songs, he'd just play songs and he would do the thing. High infectious energy. He was into it. And then, who else are they with, did you say?
Tommy James and the Shondells. And Tommy James has got some great songs.
Oh, Dragging the Line.
Dragging the Line.
And then there's, two of the greatest songs of all time, I'm just telling you, Crimson and Clover and Crystal Blue Persuasion.
All great.
Are two of the greatest songs of all time.
That night holds some appeal. That's on Monday, August 31st, the first Monday.
I might go to that.
Well, let's just watch our ticket budget because you've got some other options here. Kicking things off on Thursday, August 27th, Bonnie Raitt is going to be there. Having seen Bonnie Raitt several times, including at the State Fair, and had a chance to interview that lovely woman underneath the grandstand there. Thank you. Way back in the day, and she came out because her hair is this big red mane. Well, she came out to do the interview. She's like, Brian, I hope you don't mind, but this is what I'm going to look like. And she had those giant old school roller curlers in her hair, like not little ones, but like the giant ones that give you the big waves. And we sat and did the interview, and she could not have been more sweet. She was wonderful. Anyway, she's night one. Night two, a little more your speed, Common. Weird Al Yankovic, the Bigger and Weirder 2026 tour lands with special guest Puddle's Pity Party. Are you familiar?
No, I've never heard of it.
Are you familiar with Puddle's Pity Party?
I can't say.
What if I told you that a band did kind of old-timey music, played in this kind of great, sounds like it's coming through an old Victrola kind of sound, but the lead singer was a near 7-foot-tall French clown who sang in a really, really deep baritone voice?
Sounds like something that would be on the Gong Show.
It kind of is, but it's very, very popular to the point where
they're at the State Fair.
They're going to be opening up for Weird Al. Who else we got? Sierra Farrell, I do not know, young singer-songwriter. Tommy James. Rod Stewart with special guest Richard Marx. An evening for the ladies, perhaps? Yeah. No, you're out. All right. What about AJR with special guest Quinn? What is that, 60-42? I don't know what that number is.
I'm out. All
right, Brad Paisley. Big country night. You got to have a big country night at the Great Minnesota Get Together. Exactly. A little Brad Paisley.
He was big time.
Yeah. And then the final night, it is a show called It's Iconic, TLC, Salt and Peppa with En Vogue.
I'll be there.
You know what?
I already have tickets.
Do you really?
Yes.
Oh, because see, if I can secure tickets to that, I would 100% go to that show.
Oh, you know what? Bad break for me. Last day of the State Fair, I'll be watching paint dry.
I understand.
I'll be...
Think of all the socks you'll have washed that weekend that you'll need to fold.
Well, and then they're going to deliver a boiling hot vat of asphalt. Anytime they deliver you something, the window's like 9 hours.
Tops before it solidifies.
Time now for another episode of Rock Rank.
Rock Rank.
Rock Rank.
Yeah. Rock Rank.
Rock Rank.
Rock Rank.
Rock Rank.
Rock Rank.
Rock Rank.
Last week we did top 5 songs with Cars basically in the title. Now we are going to do the top 5 songs from the Cars, the band The Cars.
The actual band The Cars.
Yes.
Which they come out of New England, Boston band is really where their home base was. But both Rick Ocasek and Ben Orr were in previous bands together. They were in a band called Milkwood. Mm-hmm. And, they were doing things and it was okay. And then it all came together. The 70s started to draw to a close and punk rock was waning, but it was giving way to post-punk and new wave. It was a very, very exciting time in music. 1979 might be my favorite year in music. Really? But just when you look at it as a cross-section, obviously there's great music in every era, every year, but on the whole, man, 1979.
Well, I remember we were, my running group, Haight-Ashbury guys.
Right.
We were into your Rolling Stones, your Led Zeppelins, the Who, the Yes, all these bands, right?
Nazareth.
And what was the Cars was so different from anything we had listened to, and we just fell in love with it. It was just, I remember we wore a couple of copies of, the Cars, the self-titled debut album, and then Candy O and all the others. We played them over and over. And the two frontmen, Benjamin Orr and Rick Ocasek. Do you go Ocasek or Ocasek? I'm
an Ocasek guy, but you know what? I don't ever get caught up in that stuff. If someone else wants to pronounce it differently, I'm cool with whatever.
Rosen likes to do that a lot with our NBA players. But they both passed away, but they are one of my, I think they're for sure my top 10 bands of all time and maybe top 5.
They are in my top 5 of all time. Again, and it's so weird to say because as much as live music matters to me and I love going to shows and have been to so many of them, they're arguably in the top 5 worst live bands I've seen in my entire life. I mean, the songs are bulletproof. The songs are legendary. They are legacy. But live, they were just they were more stiff than Kraftwerk. Just boring live. But that being said, easily in my top 5.
Are we ready then? These are the top 5.
Number 5 is the title track from the band's 4th studio release. Only because I felt like I had to find one that wasn't on the first 2 because those are such superior records to the rest of the entire catalog. Yes, up to and including Heartbeat City. But their 4th album came out after they put out Panorama, their 3rd album, which did not do well. And it was a little bit of a return to form, but not all the way back to form. That would take until Heartbreak City came out. But the title track, Shake It Up, comes in at number 5 for me.
Shake It Up.
It's got such a cool, groovy beat, and, the guitar solos are great, and that was the brilliant part about the Cars, right? Is like you had Elliot Easton playing these economic 8-bar guitar solos, Greg Hawkes knowing exactly where to put that groovy synth in there all over the place, and Shake It Up is just a good, vibey song after they had put out all that dark stuff on Panorama. It felt like the band was back.
I can't do a top 5.
Yeah?
I could just throw songs. I don't know if it's 5 or not, but I'm a big fan of Dangerous Type.
That's coming up on my list.
Is it really?
It absolutely is, yeah. But at number 4, I've got You're All I've Got Tonight because I like the way it starts.
Oh, the drum at the beginning.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Doop, 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 doop. And then it goes into the sweeping guitar solos. Elliot Easton gets a little more room to spread his wings and show his rock chops. And they always had one of my favorite things about them, no matter who was singing or what kind of song it was, the lyrics are so oblique. They don't really mean anything. Sometimes they seem a little angry. Sometimes they seem like, their lyrics don't really make sense no matter what. Even with a song as simple as Let's Go, they've got oddball lyrics throughout, and to me that was always the mystery.
Eyes and a risque mouth.
Let them brush your rock and roll hair.
So good, yeah.
She had Purple Hum, assorted cards, electric lights she brings. What? Okay. That's so number 4,
Moving
You're All I've Got
Tremolo.
Tonight. And number 3 is where I match up with the song you're talking about, Dangerous Type. It speaks to the sort of the seedy underbelly, if you can't be with the one you love the one you're with. And yeah, kind of some of their stuff dealt with sort of the seedier side of life or some of those impulses and urges that are within that point in that direction.
Well, don't just stop.
Exactly.
Let's not even just listen to it.
Exactly. So Dangerous Type comes in at number 3 for me.
Well, I'm going to I want you to go.
Okay, I'll get them out of the way.
Yeah, I'm going to name the other
Number
songs
2
that I like.
is Just What I Needed because it's
Great
a
song.
love song. It's a brilliant one. Thank you, Tana. It's a love song, and I like the way he describes the relationship. Again, there's this weird sort of new wave detachment from the subject, but still obvious adoration of. I think Benjamin Orr, when he's rocking, might be one of the greatest things that happened in the late 70s or early 80s. So Just What I Needed
It's another favorite
is my
of mine.
second favorite. It's a great one. And at number 1 for me is the title track to the album that I would probably say is my second favorite album of all time. Candio is by far my favorite Cars song.
Okay.
But it's really that whole 3-song triptych right there that goes in with All Mixed Up, or Double Life into Shooby-Doo into Candio. But Candio, to me, it is peak. It is Ben Orr's voice. It is amazing synthesizer work, great drums, excellent guitar work, just everything that makes the Cars one of my all-time favorite bands is present and center and insistent. It's just a great song.
Where do you rank Bye Bye Love?
Also, I mean, again, this was really hard.
One of my favorites. It's top 5.
For sure. This was just off the top of my head. The later ones that were bigger hits, like Drive and Magic and You Might Think, those were gigantic hits, and there's nothing wrong with those songs. But the real beating heart, the soul, the legacy of the Cars for me are in those first 2 records in particular, but really the first 4.
It's All I Can Do.
It's a great song. That's out right here. I've got All Mixed Up.
Well, here's the thing.
Moving in Stereo
Moving
holds
in
a pestle space.
Here's the thing. Is that one song or 2? Because they go from Moving in Stereo to All Mixed Up. So
Right.
I didn't know if that should be counted as well. Because that 2 song, when when you play those two songs back to back,
Yeah.
that basically to me sums up everything the Cars does. And All Mixed Up is the only Cars song of all their songs that has a horn in it. They play a saxophone at the very end. And it's the only song in the Cars collection that has a horn at the very end. It's brilliant. I mean, it was a perfect addition to the song. Here's an underrated one. Tell me if you like this. This is never mentioned as one of their best songs, and it might be, I'm not going to say it's my favorite, but it's a top 5, Since I Held You.
It's a great song.
I love Since I Held You. And that's one of those that's kind of just buried. Most people would think. I just think it's simply a brilliant piece of work.
Again, you can really throw a dart when it comes to their catalog, except for the very, very end of it. There's songs like Double Life, or songs like which one did you just say? Since You're Gone?
Since I Held You.
Oh, Since I Held You, but also Since You're Gone is another great, great song of theirs. So really, that list for me goes on and on and on. I love them, but those were my top 5.
Their last album, Heartbeat City.
Yeah, well, they did do one after that, after Ben Orr died. But nobody you know or I know could name one song off of it. So yeah,
so much of those Heartbeat City songs, they were more poppy, I think, because they were kind of running.
Well, it was the first time they didn't work with their longtime producer and instead had Mutt Lange come on there. So he absolutely turned that into a sludgy pop sensation.
But I loved it.
Yeah, it's a great record.
I think it's just spectacular.
Well, and it came out early in that year, that summer of 84, and MTV was popping, and they were all over with their zany videos, and they provided like 2 or 3 major anthems of the summer of 84 that would then go on to be summer anthems until today.
Heartbeat City is one of my favorite songs because the noise of electric never stops. Right? Heartbeat City, It's My Life.
Yeah.
Better Catch the Blue Caboose. And then they got the doo-doo. It's so... Heartbeat City is one of my favorite songs. But you're right, I watched, they were at some massive concert. I don't know if it was Live Aid or whatever it is. And they're on stage playing that song, and you couldn't see more 5 guys just standing there. And that's not a great party rocker kind of a song. It's not a concert type song, I don't think.
Exactly.
And so don't watch it live, but that's one of my favorite songs. I think it's just astonishing.
I don't think, again, with the exception of that Door to Door album, I don't think you can miss if you want to get a Cars album for your collection.
Let me ask you a question.
Yes, anything.
You're doing a podcast.
I am. I actually have been for some time now, about 6.5 years. Just did episode 571 today, featuring a great local band called The Long Honeymoon. And what else? Won an award recently from Minneapolis St. Paul Magazine, Silver Medal Award-winning podcast. Available, this is the best part about it, it's available so easy, so free through the iHeartRadio app, which should already be on your handheld device.
We'll see you next Wednesday.
See you then.
Brian Oak with Rock Talk. Short break. Come back with more nonstop nonsense. Tom Fuller and Skullduggery on the Fan.